Stop waiting on life to happen. In life, I feel like a lot of us just tend to overanalyze and overthink everything that occurs. And with reference to that, I realize that, some people disregard the power of their present moment, the power that they have within this current space to do as they please, to move on with their life, or to, fully develop who they are as people and define their craft. Now, in saying that, I know it's not always an easy thing or something like that, but I think that people somewhat wait for these kinds of things to unfold instead of, taking the steps to do it. But I realize that a part of, and faith in self is not necessarily a stress something, but you're gonna get there no matter what, regardless of the path. But I feel like if we do have, opportunity and possibility within the present moment to take action, to move towards our goals, to set ourselves up for a better future, then of course we should be doing that. And that can't be done at the same time where our comfort is somewhat getting in the way of our potential success. In the same way that people might not strive to do something because either they feel like they're not qualified, or they feel like it's almost beneath them or outside of their reach, or some type of self-esteem, pragmatic, thing that they've been taught in life rather than, something they see for themselves. I feel like there's so many avenues for creativity within life on Earth. And a lot of people give up on those avenues due to the strict nature somewhat of the world we live in. And I feel like some of that strictness is self-inflicted. It's part of the realization that it is hard that makes people stand away from it and not do it. But for those of us and those people who truly feel committed to a certain something, those people who know wholly that, they want to do this certain thing, then by all means they should be striving for it with all of their heart. And I feel like that's part of the reason why it either hasn't gotten to them or isn't going to. Part of that, it's kind of like the law of attraction. Realizing your goal, your ideal, and sort of treating yourself as if you already got it in order to bring it into your life. Taking the necessary steps and actions to get towards your goal, because we can all do whatever we want. To know it's humanly possible means you too can do it. There have been countless people in history who have, started off very bad and ended up in very good situations. Now, I realize that, it's easy to have an outlier in a situation like that, but the realization and the point of saying something like that is just that, you only have so many years on Earth, and it's full of opportunity. And I feel like a lot of us are going to end up regretting not taking the chances that we could have taken when we were younger to better ourselves, or either, strive towards an avenue or career path that's more attuned to who we are as people. Because I know that there are plenty of people who are working jobs and not necessarily happy with what they do, but simply there because it makes money. And I know there are some people who are genuinely happy with what they do, but they're not necessarily fixated on the financial aspects of it. So, the implication of, don't wait for life to happen is just to kind of get out there and have faith in yourself and in the circumstance, rather than, there's no self to have faith in if you're not doing anything. If you're stagnant, you're not having faith in self per se, rather you're having faith that something's just going to fall in your lap. And in many cases, that's not going to happen. The whole point of it is to cultivate, to sow seeds and stuff that you actually aspire to do, stuff that you want, stuff that you desire, instead of just sitting there. We spend our days in reverence, a mundane episode of an beautiful ordeal, is what I said before. And it's true. we constantly reference our past and things like that, and wonder why things don't work out in regards to the, maybe our successes. But the work we put towards our quote unquote successes, or the thing we want, isn't necessarily being shown. You can say you want to be a famous rapper, but are you releasing music? Are you working on your craft? Are you doing stuff like that? And I feel like that's the whole point. You have to kind of prove to yourself that you want it in order for it to actually come into fruition. You can't spend your life waiting on it to happen. You have to you have to be the life and not try to see it. I feel like a lot of us try to see life and try to see experiences and count those experiences as something that's fulfilling to life. But a lot of life is spent unstressed. It's not supposed to be constantly analyzed and treated as if it's something overly mystical, or even the opposite. Some people think of the world as some flat plane, and then the nature of it is already set in stone, and we can't really do anything to go against it, or you have to do this, or this is a set path, or something like that. But there really is no set path, set in a real sense, set in a present sense, in terms of who you are. You can choose what you want to do, or speaking from my experience, I'm fortunate enough to do what I want in a way, to pursue things that are outside of the standard conventions of our society. However, I realize that there are some people who maybe aren't as fortunate, but for those of us who can, there's no point in not, waiting for those kind of successes is counterintuitive. You can't wait for a success that you make. Part of developing self is not waiting on yourself to develop, it's developing the self. It's that constant work that leads to a better future. It's that constant work that makes it more so, living life, being within it, rather than waiting on it to happen.